All right. Hey, I am grateful that you're all here. This is 10 questions long. Layer 2 and you. Here, my friends, is your very first question. Good luck, everybody. All right, well done. No LLDP run. And the best way to learn that, by the way, is hands-on practice. And there's a few options that we can tweak and use with LLDP, the Link Layer Discovery Protocol. And in 2.3 in the blueprint, I just didn't pick these out of the air. I went through the blueprint. It says, configure and verify Layer 2 discovery protocols. And then in parentheses, CDP and LLDP. All right, so good job on that one for 51 correct answers. Fantastic, fantastic. And here is the next. All right, well, that's a great job. 91 of you said physical address, yes. And you know what? In the like the protocol stack, like we have the physical layer and the data link layer. So why is a MAC address called like a physical address? I don't know. It's not my fault. Anyway, I joke about that a little bit, but it's important to know context. It really is. And so if you're just learning about networking and somebody says a term and you're not quite sure, this happened to me yesterday, but what day is it? It happened to me Friday. I had Pat from Florida. He's a great pen tester. Anyway, he came out, had spent a few hours together, kept cool, kept socially distant, and where was I going with all this? Oh my gosh, such a great story. And I like got sidetracked thinking about our hanging out with Pat. Why do they call it that? Oh my gosh, I totally slipped. I have no idea. I have no idea where I was going. But let's talk about some terms for layer 2. Physical address, layer 2 address, MAC address, hardware address, BIA, burned in address, and then the unique local and the link local, those are both layer 3 addresses with IPv6. All right, moving forward, let me go ahead and let's see who's on the podium, or who's on the top. So Rapid Deer leading the pack with 2,875 points. Way to go, you're crushing it. Also, I would encourage you to ask yourself some hard questions. If you are been working on your CCNA for a while and you think, wow, like 6 months ago I was working on my CCNA and now I'm working on my CCNA, it's time. It is time to do it and get it. I've had a lot of opportunity in my life to get certifications, and I think at the beginning of those journeys there wasn't a lot of people who thought, oh yeah, you can do this, because I'm super average. It's true, very, very true. So I would encourage you, if you've been working on your CCNA or dabbling for several months, I would encourage you to commit to a date at some point, like a month away, 2 months away, whatever you feel it is. You could put your feet to the fire and then schedule that exam, put down some cash with Cisco or Pearson VUE to take the test, and then study focused every day in getting there. And if you're willing to commit, in the comments right now, either in the comments for the video or the comments in the live chat, either way, you want to put down I'm committed and also put down a date, I dare you. I double dog dare you. Now, some of you are already CCNAs, so that's okay. But if you are a CCNA and working on something next, I would encourage you to publicly put a date on it and specify what you commit to. Because when I commit to others, like I have on this channel, like in 2019, I had a weight goal. I wanted to get down to 15% body fat. That commitment made the difference because I thought, oh my, 5 people who I've told that I'm going to do this. And I don't want to be a liar. I want to meet my commitments. And it helped give me a little additional positive pressure to get off my butt and get it done. So that's what I would encourage you to do. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic on the commitments. I am rooting for you. And for those of you who've already reached out to me, direct messaged me on Discord, I'm available. So if you've studied something, or if you want a little tip on something, or you want an opinion of something, I'm available on Discord. DM me. I check it 2 or 3 times a week, and I'm happy to assist. My goal is if you're willing to put in the work and learn some skills and get better at those skills, it's going to change your life. And if I can be a little teeny a push in that direction, I'm all in. Party on. All right, let's continue on with the quiz. Here is, my friends, the next question. Good luck, everybody. In some parts of the world, they might say that dog won't hunt. Not going to fly if they're not set up correctly. So it would not form. Okay, 57 of you got that correct. Way to go. Moving on. This focus of this entire set of questions, by the way, is something regarding layer 2. So layer 2 ether channel would count. Banning tree would count. MAC addresses for CDP, LLDP, and things like that would count. All right, here we go. Next question. This is question number 4. Some devices, not all of them, some devices in VLAN 10 failed to get a DHCP address. What could help with that? And I have a confession to make. It feels pretty good to provide these questions and then not have to worry about the answers because I already did the work last night. So the night before, I put these questions together, and then I have proofing that's done in the morning. So again, thanks to Kelvin and Josh for helping me proof these. I also wanted to point out something I did different. If you want to do YouTube or create video content, which these days is becoming more and more useful. I want to share with you how I get some of my video, in fact, one you're watching right now, into my computer. I have a Sony a6400. I used a webcam for a long time, many years, and it's fine, perfectly fine. I upgraded a little bit to a Sony a6400. I use most of the defaults. And then I have it fed in through, I had it fed in until yesterday, through a little adapter. This is a Camlink 4K, so it takes the HDMI output from the camera. When I set it to clean output, which means don't show all the grids and everything else, just your video like what you're seeing here. And it feeds into this, which goes into the computer via USB 3.0. This was like over $100 before things got crazy. And anyway, I think right now they sell between $110 and $150 for this little adapter that takes the 4K video in and then sends it into. Well, I saw on YouTube, and I want to pass this on because if you're interested in getting into video and getting into YouTube, this device, I bought 3 of them on Amazon. They're like between $20 and $25. And there's several different vendors that are selling very similar models. $25. So in the description for this video, there's a link to my Amazon store if you just want to be able to see it and find it, or just search for HDMI adapter. Now this one takes in 4K, and it only outputs at max at 1080p. So you're not going to do the 4K into your computer. But I realized that even though my camera does 4K, that I'm editing everything at 1080p, everything. So my actual files are no bigger than 1080p. So I wanted to pass that tip on that for $20 you can get HDMI input from an external device, and incredible. So anyway, and that's what I'm using for this. It's the first day I'm using it, by the way. I tested it last night. This is the first day I'm using it, so I wanted to share that detail with you that things are getting affordable. Okay. The other thing that I changed was I tried a couple of streams, a couple of videos with a little lapel mic because I wanted to be able to move around, and that's great. But the audio in my ear wasn't quite the same, including the video from, it's Sunday, yesterday. That was done with a lapel mic going in through a Scarlett preamp. So I'm using this mic again with some filters, and anyway, so I'm in a constant state of trying to get a little bit better every single time I produce something for you and for us. I mean, I want it to be quality stuff that you can enjoy and say, wow, that was fun, and I learned a lot, and also I know how to do some additional YouTube stuff. So where was I going with all that? Oh, also I'm moving to a new studio. Hopefully by November, it's all built out. Carpet's in, the walls are back in place, the cabling's done, and I'm going to slowly start moving some gear over there and have some fun stuff coming up for you there as well. All right, so let me know. Oh, I'm gonna go back and listen to this recording and make sure my audio sounds better than it did with the lapel mic. And oh, thank you very much, Michael, for that feedback. All right, I think we're doing a quiz, right? All right, Kate's back on target. Why would port fast help in this situation? The answer is that when a PC boots up on the network, where am I at? Oh, here I am. When a PC boots up on the network, if it's getting an IP address, it does the DORA process. Discover, hey, I'm looking for a DHCP server. Is there a DHCP server here? Or is there a relay agent who can pretend it's a DHCP server and send that message off for me? And if a computer's booting up, powering up, and spanning tree, we're talking about traditional crunchy spanning tree, IEEE 802.1d. If it's running, there's the whole, oh, you know what? The port came up because the PC supplied link. I need to go through the listening. Okay, 15 seconds. How'd you like that? Oh, but then I can't start forwarding it because I got to go through the learning state. That's another 15 seconds by default. So it could be 30 seconds. So if you have a PC that boots up, it could be 30 seconds with the default settings on most switches if they're running spanning tree before the port even forwards the traffic. So the client could give up and say, well, I'm not getting a response, and especially if the client boots very quickly. So that's why this answer is correct. Enable port fast, and as soon as the port comes up, it doesn't go through the listening and learning states, or if your rapid spanning tree doesn't go through the learning and forwarding state, and it just starts allowing traffic to be forwarded. That's why that would help with this. All right, fantastic. So next question is this. 5 out of 10, we're halfway there. Good luck, everybody. I know it's a weird place to keep root ports on non-root bridges, but that's where they are. And so I was looking back at all the content that we have in the master playlist, which I just, everything that's related to CCNA is put in there. And then I also separate them based on the Kahoot quizzes, these quizzes, and I have one for Subnet Saturdays and one for Layer 2 security and some other playlists that are helpful in finding that content. I realized after I did the spanning tree videos here on YouTube for this channel that, and I think we've had like over 100 videos since October. I have 10 to 12 new pieces of content for you every single month. And I did the spanning tree, and we talked about spanning tree, why it's important. And I realized after the fact that you're way more prepared than you need to be for spanning tree if you've gone through those videos right here. Because it basically says in 2.5, let me go to the other camera here. In 2.5, and also some people say, well, Keith, how do you switch between cameras? I did a video where I actually recorded me making a video, which was a lot of fun, by the way. And I use an Elgato Stream Deck. It's just like think of it like a keypad with hotkeys that switch between scenes in OBS, which OBS is Open Broadcast Studio. That's what I record in. So it's a lot like CCNA prep. If I spend some time in setting up this environment, it makes it easier to do. So if you spend the appropriate time in studying for your CCNA, when you get to that point where you're taking the exam, take a nice deep breath and just say, I've got this. And that includes not knowing some of the answers. Like there may be some wingers that like, you know what, that's a really interesting. I got a couple of those that I thought, you know what, I have no clue what that answer is. I don't have that memorized. But it's multiple guess, I'm going for something. So for spanning tree, it says this. Describe the need for, this is 2.5 if you're following along in the blueprint, by the way. And everybody should download the exam topics from Cisco and make sure they're ranking themselves on it. 2.5, describe the need for and basic operation of rapid per VLAN spanning tree plus protocol and identify its basic operations. Root ports? I mean, that's the first sub bullet. What is a root port? So just check out the spanning tree videos, you'll nail it. What is a root bridge? What are the port names? What are the port states? We have, roles of ports, and that like a designated port, a root port, so forth. And then we have states, like what is it doing? Is it blocking? Is it discarding if it's rapid spanning? All right. Thank you for joining me. We got a few more questions, and I hope you're enjoying it. If you're getting value out of this and you haven't already done so, please click on subscribe. We'd love to have you get notifications as well with the alert bell when new videos and content comes out. Also, I have a personal plea for everybody who's studying for CCNA but has not yet practiced hands-on. Please, for you, not for me, but for you, do some hands-on practice with Packet Tracer. It is free, it is worth it, and you will get knowledge that you just can't pick up by studying and reading without the hands-on. So if there's one person in the audience today or listening to this stream later who's thinking, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do some hands-on practice. Yes, because if you want to become really, really good at the basics and then parlay that forward and get really, really good at the professional level stuff, and then if you want to go on to CCIA and get that too, or go to Checkpoint or Palo Alto or other vendors and master their technologies, that hands-on practice and that habit you have now is going to serve you very, very well. All right, next question, and that is something like this. Question 6 of 10. Good luck, everybody. It's a CDP question. And I'd like to also thank Kelvin and others for helping in the queue with questions and reminding people how to log on if they need to. For these live events, I would encourage you also that there's a speed control with YouTube. And because it's a live event, if you pause or your connection gets disrupted for a few moments, you might be lagging. So if you go to the speed controls and set it to 1, just for the live event, after the fact, use any speed you want. But if you set it to 1.3, click on the gear and go to 1.2 or 1.3 to speed it up a little bit. That way, it can make sure that you are exactly in sync with me here so that the actual quiz engine can work for you as well. So the pin is at the bottom, the game pin is at the bottom, and you can use Kahoot on your app, Apple, Android, doesn't matter. Or you can just log in from a browser to kahoot.it and put in the pin code. So the best way to learn how to disable CDP on the device itself in global config or in interface config with no CDP enable is to practice it. And a few times of practicing it, you'll have it. That's the best way to reinforce that. And because CDP and LLDP are both on the blueprint for configure, not just describe it, configure, I would encourage you to take that seriously. All right, so no CDP enable in the interface. And I hope this isn't another question already, but no CDP run from global config turns it off on the entire box. All right, let's move forward. Here we go. Good luck. Question 7 of 10. And if you're not sure and need a tip, look at the image. All right, great work. It's discarding. And to Aaron's question saying, I only have one wrong answer and I'm still not in the top 5. So let me share with you, many of you already know. So the way this works is the faster you answer it, and I might add correctly, the more points you get. So I would argue that getting the questions right, thinking about them, answering correctly is better than rushing into it and getting it wrong. But that's how basically somebody could get like 6 or 7 correct in a row, not be in the top 5 because the other people just boom, jumped on it that much faster. All right, there's so many great questions or comments going down the comment list, though. Thank you very much for your engagement and your participation. I want every one of you who has the desire to do so to get your Cisco certifications. It will make a difference with that foundation in place. Then you can continue to grow on top of that. That's the secret. I still remember back in 1999 when I was just thinking, Cisco, what's that? So I started my journey in Cisco, I think it was in 98, 99, and I got my CCNA, and then I got my CCNP, and then I got my CCIE in 2001. So it was 3 years. And that right before I got my CCIE, I spent 8 months, 4 to 5 days a week, 4 to 5 hours a day, in studying and labbing and labbing and labbing and labbing. Was it worth it for me 20 years ago to get a CCIE? Yeah. Did I do it again? Yeah. But it starts here. So start here with the basics, the fundamentals, and then work your way up as far as you'd like to go. All right. Let me go ahead and take a look at the next question. And at the top of the leaderboard is Diplomat Condor. Very, very diplomatic of you, Condor. All right, question 8 of 10. We have 3 to go. So that's a difficult question. Am I supposed to memorize like the MAC addresses for these protocols? I would say, here's the tricky part. I'd like your opinion. Let's do that. I love your opinion. What do you think would be the best way to recognize? I'm not saying memorize. Like somebody said, Keith, don't look down, but what is the MAC address for the HSRP virtual IP address? I would say, you mean all 12 characters? You want me to repeat all 12? I don't know, but I could recognize that. And let me ask you a question. Why? Or how do you think the average human, like, you and I, how would the average human be able to recognize the MAC address that's being used by things like DDP or LLDP or HSRP or VRRP or whatever? What do you think the best way or the most common way that a human like us would be able to recognize that from a pick list? What do you think? Yep, I hear you. I hear you. Well, let me share with you the answer I was digging for. The answer I was digging for is if you've labbed it up, you've seen this MAC address. That's it. So if you've labbed it up and did a show standby and you saw that, and you did it like a couple times and you looked at the output and you saw that MAC address, there's a very good chance you say, oh, that's the MAC address. And all the others are not for that. In fact, I do have a few other MAC addresses there. Now, let me see what they are. I wrote them down because I don't have them all memorized either. Okay, the one that's 00005E00, that is VRRP. The last number, which is B, represents group 11. The one with all the C's in it is used by CDP, Cisco Discovery Protocol. And the one that starts with 0180 is used by LLDP. You don't need to memorize those. But what I'm saying is that as you practice and do hands-on practice in Packet Tracer, not asking for anything too crazy, you'll have a better understanding of what those MAC addresses are because you'll see them. Same thing with IPv6. I was pleasantly surprised how well on IPv6 and the questions many people did. And I was also shocked at how poorly a lot of us did on certain questions. And labbing it up, like if you enable IPv6 on an interface, and then you do a show IPv6 interface, and you see those FF01, FF02 if IP routing is enabled, FF05, FF02::5 for OSPF, and others. Well, OSPF for IPv6 is beyond CCNA, but by doing the hands-on practice, some of those are just going to become like familiar to you, and you don't have to really memorize them. But if you get a test question and they're asking you, "Hey, I wonder, do you understand how this works, and have you configured it before?" Because that's how they're going to ask those types of questions. Like if the task is configure and verify XYZ, they want to ask a level of a question that's appropriate for that. Like, you think this guy's ever configured it? He doesn't even know the output. Anyway, practice, hands-on, and have fun. It's not I gotta study. Studying is fun. It is. If you schedule time for it, which is key. Schedule time, tell all of your loved ones, everybody in your life, hey, this is really important to me. I'm gonna spend 1 hour or 30 minutes, whatever it is, studying. Do not open social media. Do not turn your phone on vibrate or move it out of the room, and then just spend that time. And then when the time's up, say done, then go to your social media, take care of your family, all those other things. But when you're studying, have some fun studying. And if you want somebody to follow, like, oh my gosh, I need to follow somebody who's a really good study habit person, Knox Hutchinson. I'm going to say it. Knox Hutchinson is working on a CCIE. You might say, Keith, CCIE? I'm not working on my CCIE, I'm working on my CCNA. But Knox Hutchinson is showing the perfect example of how to do it, how to study. Every week, he's accountable. Every week on Fridays, he posts a video. Here's what I did this week. Here's what I studied. Here's what I'm learning. It's amazing. And he spends time reading books. He spends time watching videos. He spends time labbing it up. And then he takes a topic and says, you know what? I'm imagining now that I'm good on this topic, or I'm better than I was. And he continues. And that's the secret. in those quiet moments when the world isn't watching, just keep your head down, keep a smile on your face, and just go to work as far as learning and studying. Somebody from Europe was on the chat yesterday, and he said that this whole thing that's going on the planet right now, which is pretty severe, gave him the opportunity to just really buckle down. And his concern was after there's a remedy and people are out and being more social and everything else, what do I do? Am I going to be able to continue that study habit? My answer is, if a person can do it for 3 months, you can build those study habits and keep them forever. I have a lifetime of study. Now, part of my job, I'm required to study, because if I want to teach something, I have to know it. So I'm studying new stuff all the time. But that's the secret. Slow and steady. Knox Hutchinson, huge shout out. His YouTube channel is Data Knox. I would suggest, if you haven't already, poke over there. Maybe not during the quiz, but afterwards, and subscribe and follow him. It's motivational. It's like, whoa, there he goes. He's not unstoppable, and he is. And he'll have a CCA within a year. And I think he just started with Cisco Systems IT maybe 6 years ago, and he's just a sponge for learning. And he can do it. I can do it. You can do it. We can do it. Let's get this thing done. There's no reason we shouldn't. Let's not have the situation where in 6 months you look back and say, man, I wish I got my CCNA then. Let's do it. Let's get that CCNA, help other people who are stuck, climbing up, and just keep on moving. All right, I'm getting off my soapbox, and we are going to move on to the next question, which is this guy right here. This second to the last question. How do you change the transmission frequency or the link? Is it link layer? Link layer discovery protocol. LLDP. We just call it LLDP all day. Yeah, link layer discovery protocol. And how would a person know something like that? What do you know? Answer? Flag it up. All right, it's LLDP timer, and then you have to actually put in the number of seconds you want for that transmission. You want to change the. I think the default is 120 seconds, but I could be wrong. But if you wanted to change it, you could with this command. All right, and is that fair game for CCNA? And let me take a look at the blueprint. Configure and verify layer 2 discovery protocols, including Cisco Discovery Protocol and LLDP. So I would say, yeah, and there's not that many options for CDP and LLDP. So if you did a lab or two on it, practiced it, like, yep, got it, done. Ready to move on. Okay, next question. I think this is the last question. So what I have to say to everybody for this very last question, right camera, it's so great to have you here. It's so great to see many of you who are committed, wanting to learn, because I honestly know that no matter what life throws at you, it is messed up sometimes, a lot, for a lot of people. But whatever situation we find ourselves in, if we make strides and steps in the direction that we want to go, we are going to be better off. We may never get there. I know that. I may never have the impact that I would like to have on helping people get their CCNAs, which is my mission these days on YouTube. So if I'm shooting for 1 million people, maybe I only help 500,000 people. I'm cool with that. It's a lot better than doing nothing. So let's make a difference. Let's buckle down. Let's get the work done. And like yesterday, then I'll give you the last question. Like, Keith, I got one more question. This last question is worth 1,000 points, so no pressure, but it could be the deal breaker. Yesterday I had a video. It's a new lab, a new packet tracer lab, and it's pretty good. The guise is for this lab that you download packet tracer free from netacad.com. Get the instructions for that. Free sign up, free download. I told them where to get this new packet tracer lab from the keithbarker.com. That link is in the description as well. And I explained that I'd like you to configure OSPF, but don't just do like network and then a wildcard mask says everything. Be very specific as far as the mask. So if it's the /24 mask, you'd use the appropriate wildcard bits, which are wildcard mask, which would be 000255. That's all in different videos. But the other thing is, I injected some problems in there. So even if you get the networks correct and you get the network statements correct and put it in myself like, oh, there's me. Hey, Keith. Squirrel. Even if you get the network statements correct, which you will, and practice, there's going to be some other gotchas. And that's where the learning can come in also. It's like, oh, this neighborship is, why is that? And that will encourage us to use our show commands and get practice and get better and better. So after you've done OSPF many times, as you have, if you followed along in my packet tracer labs, you'll get better and better and better with it. And then when you're asked a question like, hey, which things have to match up for neighborships to form? You'll say, oh yeah, I remember 4 things Keith did to me that made it not work, like the timers, the MTU, the same network, same area, the same. Oh, and then beyond that, we have CCIE stuff like our CCNP stuff, like stub areas and not so stubby areas, and totally stubby areas and not so totally stubby areas. Save those for CCNP. All right, we have one last question. I wish everybody the best of success on this, and this is where everything comes down to this last question. Good luck, everybody. Hey JV, thanks for the comments. All right, and we have had discussions on DHCP and DHCP relay and how that works. And oh, it would be great if we had some labs on that, and we do. Got several packet tracer labs that are involving DHCP and DHCP relay as well. Okay, so let's take a look at the podium. Layer 2 and you. I'll let the music cease and I'll talk. All right. So Creative Jaguar, way to go, way to go, way to go. If you want to direct message me on Discord, and everybody can do that too, by the way. If you have questions or like to chat with me personally, that's a great way to reach me. I may not be able to respond in that same hour, but I usually within the same week will be able to follow up and connect with you and so forth. So what the cool thing about this is, let me go back over here. And I've got a button for that. This tool shows me where the toughest questions were in general, and that gives me an opportunity, and you an opportunity for the ones that you missed, to go back to those areas on the blueprint and study. So I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. There's 3 major things that a person can do, if you want to be successful in getting your CCNA, and more importantly, learning the technologies. Are you ready? The first is to get some kind of full study material, a full course. And there's lots of options out there. This channel, well, I'll talk about this channel in a second. So there's people making free content that are releasing it as we speak. Some of these people I know and I like and I trust. I work for CPT Nuggets. We have a full offering as well. It's a commercial site where you buy a subscription and you can access it that way. There's other online options for video training. There's books that cover all the details. There's also the online documentation from Cisco, which is quite great. to really get into the details of the topics. So you need some full course of study dialed in. Now, as far as this channel, my goal here is not to create a soup to dessert buffet of everything that's covered in the CCNA. My focus here is to focus on those topics that I think could be a little challenging for some people or may need some reinforcement. And so here's how we can use this channel. In the master playlist, I just dump every single resource that I'm making about 12 times a month in that master playlist. And then I have separate playlists for these quizzes. I have a separate playlist for layer 2 security. I've got a separate playlist for Subnet Saturday. If you want to learn how to do IP subnetting, you can do it. I know it from experience and feedback from people who watch these videos, which are very current, and get it down. So the problem this channel solves is giving you an additional resource you can dive in and take a look at those topics and really understand. Basically, my goal is to teach the content in a way that I wish somebody had taught it to me when I was first learning it, especially IP subnetting, so that people can get it, you and I can understand it and really internalize it. And then practicing labs with Packet Tracer to really reinforce it. So that's what this channel is all about. The second thing a person needs to succeed, besides getting a full course of study, is to allocate the time. Don't let a year go by. Don't let 6 months go by. Don't let a month go by without studying. So set up a study program. It may not be pleasant. It's like, oh, I don't want to. Just allocate like 5 minutes. Say every day at this time for 5 minutes, I'm going to start studying. And then after 5 minutes, you can quit if you want to, or whatever set the habit. I've done that. I still do that for exercise. I have an elliptical downstairs and I use it. And I usually use it for 15 to 30 minutes, 2 or 3 times a week, because I want to stay healthy and my brain to still work. And so I have an agreement though, like if I get on there for 5 minutes and I'm not ready to continue, I'm stopping. And I have, not most of the time, but some of the times, because I'm thinking about other things. I'm thinking about the channel. I'm thinking about work. I'm thinking about relationships. And I think I'm done. I'm out. But the habit is the secret. And you develop the habit of practicing and studying. And then once it becomes a habit, it's much easier to continue. So set a goal for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is, on a schedule. Not just, oh yeah, I'll get to it, but on a schedule. And then when you're ready to study, oh my gosh, boom. Here's what I do. Shut down email, shut down social media, shut down all the distractions, and study for that period of time, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. And then mark down your progress. It's important to see that we have little, like, hey, I'm making progress going forward and forward in your life. If you feel like, oh, I'm never making any progress, it can be very depressing, very upsetting. So set yourself up with habits. Make sure you know what you're going to study. Then watch the video, read the book, do the hands-on, step by step by step, and just get better and better and better. And don't compare. This is what I do. I do it all the time. I have to say, Keith, don't do this. Don't compare your starting point or where you are right now to somebody else's ending line or finishing point, because that doesn't help. What does help is just making small changes consistently, quietly, without a lot of complaining. Just keep moving it forward, keep moving it forward. And then like a year from now, here's my goal. A year from now, no matter what country we come from or what language is our native language or what kind of family or religious environment we were brought up in, whatever. A year from now, wouldn't it be amazing if we could look back and say, yeah, I remember when Keith said, you should do something about this and start working and start practicing and set a goal, set a time. And now a year from now, think how great it will feel when we're looking back saying, yeah, I got my CCNA and then I loved it so much, I got my CCNP, or I got my CCNA and then I went on to Checkpoint for security, or Palo Alto for security, or Cisco with Firepower Threat Defense for security. It's going to be great. And then once you get to that level, you just keep on going. And I also just remembered my conversation with Pat earlier. Pat, who lives in Florida, was in Vegas for some things. I live in Las Vegas, and he contacted me, and we spent a few hours, hung out, and socially distanced, and a great time. I am so impressed. I'm so impressed with his knowledge. And he does pen testing at a very detailed, amazing level. And the secret here is that I thought to myself, I'm amazed. Everybody's like a novel, right? It's like they've got story and their history, and it's exciting. We take time to listen to it. And in his situation, I thought to myself, how is it that this man can just be so darn competent, like knowing how to do it and being able to deliver the goods and do this and that and the other, how does he get from here? This is the teacher in me. How does he get from point A to point Z, where he's at? And the answer is day by day. He set some, I'm sure he set some objectives, started learning technology, and he doesn't just know pen testing. I mean, it was like Active Directory, VMware, like vCenter, Azure. He's all over the board. They didn't learn it all in one day. It was step by step by step and doing hands-on practice. So I wanted to pass that along to you as well, as far as I'm not going to say anything is possible, but I'm going to say the work that you put in now, and I'm asking you to commit to now and be accountable for it, is going to help you. And then the next step, you take the next step, whatever that might be. All right, that's been a little bit of me just chatting with you. It's good to connect again. I look forward to these live events where we can chat and talk. Also, I don't need to really bring that up. Something that I'm doing in the background is like later, I'm going to trim this up so that the quiz is like 20, 25 minutes, not 2 hours or whatever it is. And that way people can easier for people to digest and go through it if it's shorter. So this is just for us. All right, so here's what I'd like to do for a little bit, and that is, if you have a question for me, I just do an @ marker so that I can see it. It'll show up yellow on my screen, and I'd be happy to address it, answer it, give you my opinion, which is free, and address it that way. Instead of scrolling back through the history, if you go ahead and start off now again, and I would be happy to look at it, whatever's new, if you have questions. Also, right after, we've had kind of a tradition of, after the premieres and live events like this one, to jump on the Discord server. It's also free, and jump in the CCNA voice chat channel. And that way you can talk. We can talk with each other, ask questions, discuss things. And the goal is CCNA level focus, but sometimes it goes a little bit above, which is fine. But we want to make sure if you're a CCNA or studying for that, you feel comfortable in asking questions and, having a camaraderie with other like-minded people. And I think that, we've got a few thousand people on Discord, and we'd love to have you join us if you haven't. The link is in the description below on how to join. A couple clicks, read the rules, make sure you agree, and then join us. All right, I'm going to start with this one from Wesley.